So this is the end result. So I've decided to build the cage rolling in almost at the same time to save time and add more interesting features to it just for a change. And then you can see I roll in, with the same principle though. Overlapping, there is order, but not doubly, okay? And then they come from both sides, and then once is for the first one is established, there's no need to, being too boring and repeating the same thing again. So this, I just take them apart and they come all back together, and the groups of the columns in and the beams comes in, and then the same thing happen all through the bridge. Okay, so this is the complete animation. If you're curious, I can play. So you've seen I've cut my timeline from 60 to 375. There's no obligation you have to start at 0, but the only thing is you always avoid negative side of the numbers. And the next step would be to introduce the camera, and that is another skill. But for briefly, I still let you see this is how I keyed this one. It's called my camera 2, I think. And then you get, with this shot, you get like a really close look, and when everything is still going on, I'll close the structure and all the details. And then for camera 1 here, let's see if I could get into it. Yes. And no, wait, that's camera 2. Okay, this is like more for the last part, pretty much. So when the bridge is done, you get like this sort of drone shot. All right, just fly up and tilt down, and what, jeep up, tilt down, this kind of shot. Okay, kind of like the finale for the animation here. And then what you want to do is render it out in frames, just a light little touch on that. For example, you want to go pick your size. I'm going to just leave it for this time and then save it at some folder. If you've seen, I have already done some. So before you do it in the After Effects and put them all together as a montage to tell your story. Alright, excellent. We are in Adobe After Effects, and the first thing, of course, once you have a new project, it's not necessary that you start a new composition. We're gonna go the fast way. So we start with importing our all our shots. So I finally did 5 cameras. Okay, so camera 1, and you better render them out into different folders, just not to mess things up. And the first one would be this one, camera 1, and pick the smallest number. Make sure you check the tick box for JPEG sequence and import it. So for each and every one of these, you find a problem with the frame per second. So every time, well, you can set this, but then this might as well just be a good way to remind you guys what frame per second, what frame rate are you working on. And my project has been PAL, so yeah, 25. And repeat this all over again quickly. I'll get to them like each and every one later on to change the frame rate. So let me just pull them all in. Last one is Cam 5. Yeah, hopefully they are in order. If not, I can always change it. People say editing is the second time around for your creation, and magic could happen. Of course, it could break it too. Okay, so how we approach it, just take any of this and drag it down. So now take a good look. You can hit the space bar if the green bar goes to full, that it means it's rendered properly, and then you can play it in real time, in true time. Okay, this is quite nice, but this is the end of the whole show. The bridge is done, all the structure has been laid down, and the sections are just perfect now. And this is like the drone shot. It kind of jib up and crane up, right? That's the term. Crane up and tilt down. But well, I know I could put more layers in on top or below Cam 1, but they're not gonna show. It's like Photoshop. So you have to choose. No. So what you fix is, this is called a composition, and then you go into composition settings after you highlight. So you see this blue or yellow highlight line. In some versions it's yellow, and go to composition settings. So you want to set it up as how long you ever please. So 15 seconds is the max for me. So you better go more than enough than to be sorry and not enough. Starting from the left is by the hour, minute, seconds, and frame number. So 15 seconds and 0 frame is what I'm going after, and just hit OK. Now you can drag this, what you call is a time navigator, all the way towards the end, and you can see this is called the work area end, work area start. And now I have more than enough time to put them together. Of course, they are not in quite right the order. I would reckon this has to be the last bit. Let me see what I have here, just to get my bearings. So this is a perfect square shot. So somewhere in the middle, or even the start of it. How about that? Is that the same? Looks like the same shot, but this is the last part though. So maybe that come first. Maybe I will use this shot somewhere, and that's Cam 2. So once I've have a couple of this pose, do I want to start? Maybe I want to start this. Let's see what I have for the last one. It's like Cam 5. So I solo on that. Just the easier look on the. Oh, it goes through. Maybe I don't want to use the whole thing though. Just come up here and stop. I'll just cut I waste a number of frames, but that's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. For the sake of the whole thing. Sometimes you cannot salvage every frame. If you plan it well enough, you could, but obviously not the case here. So I think this is a good sequence that I have. Starts with nothing, square, so people see the outline of the three archers. Once they are done, I have a close track back shot to see the details of the pose, and then we kind of see the whole thing come together with the beams that support the roll section, but don't want too long or too much of that before things get bored. So I cut to say, well, you know what, I'm going to change the order of these two so I can cover this up. But indeed, as you can see, I only did like 12 or 10 seconds of animation, but finally I'm getting something more out of it. Looks like I'm getting maybe 16 or 18 seconds of animation because of the overlapping coverage of the different angles. Is that good news? Maybe. Well, oh, I see. I was gonna insert one here. So as long as you see the first section of the roll start dropping, yeah, and then I would let this come in, right? Starts dropping, and then we'll change angle, but it has to be already down quite a bit, so it could be something like that. Drops, oops, double action, probably even 1 or 2 more frame earlier, make the cut. It's perfect. And then back to, I don't know, do I still want this shot? Maybe not. So I'll waste even more. So actually, well, when it comes down to less than 15 seconds now. So that's pretty much it. Before you output, you want to make sure there's no black frames like this. So what people do is drag this to the perfect time that it cuts off. What I would give you a tip is the keyboard helps you here. Now if you stop your playhead at the correct moment when you want to chop it off, just press N. Okay, if a very good system of sounding. So N is for end, so it's just N for Navy, is also for EN, the end of the work area. So now if you hit space bar once the rendering is done, so you get to watch it in real time. The whole thing, the whole montage of the animation of the story of building this massive bridge structure. There you have it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.